Hello, this is Radio Geek, and today I have for you the Sawake AM FM Radio on the inside. So in this photo here, we see the outside of the radio, and this is a close-up of the dial. It looks like the dial detail is pretty decent. This is pretty close shot, but I thought it was kind of cool. I really like the dial on this radio. The back of the radio, you're going to have to remove a couple of screws in the back here, and then there's two on this side that need to be removed as well. And then you just kind of have to pry on the radio. However, on the front of the radio, you're going to need to get underneath that dial, and you have the knob, and there is kind of a clear plastic piece along here, and the knob fits over the shaft. That's all one piece. The knob is actually like glued to the clear plastic piece that fits over this. So you just have to kind of get underneath the knob itself and pry and pull it off of the shaft. It's got a piece of tape on there, a piece of masking tape, which makes it fit really tight in there. So it's a little bit of a struggle to get it off of there. But you know, if you have like something plastic that you can get under there that won't scratch things up. I used a screwdriver. I scratched up a little bit, but you know, if you have something a little softer that might not leave a mark, that might be the better way to do it. But you do have to take that off in addition to removing those screws to get the case apart. Once you have the case apart, you can see in this photo there's the knob, and there's that clear plastic that I was talking about. There's the indicator, and there's the knob itself. So that all pops right off of the shaft here. So that when you first take apart the radio and you pop it open, this is what you're going to see. And what I thought was kind of interesting here is they have some masking tape here, and I thought, why in the world do they have that masking tape there? Is that holding the ferry bar antenna in place? But no, it's not. What it is you can't see it. You'll see it in another photo here in a couple minutes. But the masking tape is going over the top of 4 amber LEDs, and it kind of acts as a diffuser so that you don't get hot spots on this dial here. So it kind of diffuses the light a bit. So that was kind of interesting. You just got your 2 LEDs here that are on the front for your tune and your battery low indicator. Electrolyte capacitor here, switch, earphone jack. You've got battery connections there and your speaker connections, and there is a wire running from the other side going to the FM antenna. I believe there's 3 screws holding the board to the back of the radio. This here is the inside of the front of the radio, and this is a piece of plastic here too, which helps kind of diffuse that light as well for the knob. And then just a speaker, rather thin speaker there in the front. This is a shot of the board itself. This is the surface mount side, I guess the bottom side we'll call it, and it's where it has primarily all the surface mount parts, and then the through-hole parts are coming through the other side and being soldered on this side. So it's a single-sided board is what it is. Let's see if I'll zoom in here just a little bit and kind of just look around here. So there you can see some of the soldering and some of the the flux residue and things like that. But the actual surface mount soldering does not look too bad. A A lot of this is just flux residue. There's probably some hand soldering going on as far as some of the wires, like the ones over here going to the antenna. You got your radio chip here, and I believe this here is the audio amplifier. We'll take a closer look at those in a minute as well. Volume control knob over there, and so there, that's kind of a look at it as a board assembly. And see what the next one is. Another shot here. This is a close-up of the antenna, the ferrite antenna, the AM antenna, and it's fairly tightly wound. It looks pretty decent, pretty nicely wound, and this right here is one of the amber LEDs after I remove the masking tape there. Here's a close-up of the antenna wires being soldered to the board, and that's the receiver chip right there. So the antenna wires get connected, directly to the receiver chip. This is the volume control potentiometer here. You can see there's some flux residue. Looks like possibly it was hand soldered in there, but it looks pretty good. All things considered. We're talking about a $9 radio. This is just a few more shots here of some surface mount soldering. Another shot there. Pretty typical for radios in this kind of price range. This is the board numbers that are on the board itself. It's a FY-R916 version 1.0, and it has a date of 2007-10-10, so relatively recent. This is the top side, we'll call it, of the board, the single-sided board, so all the soldering is done on the other side. And you can see that they have these amber LEDs here, and they've got glue kind of keeping them stationary and in place, I suppose. And another interesting thing that they did was they used a white, which typically is like a solder mask here. There's no components being soldered on this side, but they have the white here, and what that does is that helps to reflect the light off of the circuit board and into the dial on top of it. So it kind of directs the light that way. You'll see a lot of circuit boards that if they have LEDs on them, like they're trying to backlight something, a lot of times it'll be white to help reflect the light from that surface in the opposite direction. So that's what that is. I was kind of surprised they went to that kind of effort, really, but nonetheless, they did it. Just nothing else really here. There's the crystal here as well, right there, and nothing really else to look at here, I guess. There's another shot. It was a little bit better shot of it there. You can see the LEDs and the hot glue holding it in place. Yeah, it's just another shot there. You can see how much tape they had on that shaft to kind of tighten that up. I don't know if they had issues with it popping off too easily, and they put that on there to keep it from moving, I guess. They've got more hot glue on these other LEDs to keep them from moving around as well. Now the main heart of the matter here, the radio chip, the KT0936MB9. I've seen this IC used in some other radios as well, and I'll show you. There's like a little spec on it, but I couldn't get a actual data sheet, but there's just some specs of different things about it. And I think it was a fairly recent radio that I had taken apart that had this same radio chip in it as well. This is a audio chip here. This is a LPA 8003 audio chip, which does all the audio amplification for and driving the speaker. This is a spec here for the audio chip, and it's pretty much like it was on the other one. I think it's the same thing. You can kind of pause and read that if you like, to see what that's all about. But its specs are, they're pretty decent for a radio on a chip, so not too bad there. The audio chip itself here is right here, and it's a 3-watt mono filter-free audio power amplifier, and it has some parameters here. If you want to stop and read that, you can. If you want to check it out for yourself, it's the LPA 8003. Not sure if this is the one manufacturer, if there's several manufacturers for this, so this may or may not be the one for this chip. Might be a different manufacturer, but I think I got the right one. So all in all, it's very similar to some other ones that we have taken apart in the past. A lot of the same components. The audio amplifier is fairly common. That radio chip I have seen in several inexpensive radios, but it's just kind of amazing that a radio can be made and sold for this kind of price range with minimal components required, to actually put the radio together itself. So hope you enjoyed the inside tour of the Sawake, I don't know how you pronounce it, really, I don't, AM FM pocket radio. So until next time, this is the Radio Geek.